Journey to the West in Vernacular, Chapter 28, Beating the Spider with a Silk Hole Stick. Tang Seng and his disciples left Juzi Kingdom and continued to walk to the west. This day they came to a village. Tang Seng must ask his disciples to rest and go to the temple by himself. He walked into the yard alone and saw 4 women embroidering in front of the window and 3 women playing football behind the house. Tang Seng felt a little inconvenient, but he still had the courage to call out female bodhisattva and explained his purpose. Unexpectedly, as soon as the women heard this, they put down their needlework, threw the ball, swarmed up and pulled Tang Seng into a heavily air-conditioned cave. Some of the 7 women were cooking, while others were chatting with Tang Monk. After a while, several plates of fishy human and animal meat were served. Tang Monk was so frightened that he stood up and wanted to leave. The women worked together to knock Tang Monk down, tie him up, and hang him high on a beam. They then spit out silk threads from his mouth, woven into a large net, and sealed the village gate. Wukong waited for a long time without seeing his master come back, so he jumped up a big tree to watch, and saw a strange white light emitting from the village courtyard. Knowing that the master had encountered a monster, he asked his junior brothers to keep an eye on the luggage and horses. He came to the gate of the village, only to find that the gate of the village was blocked. The silk threads were tightly wrapped, and there were hundreds or thousands of layers. When I touched it with my hand, I couldn't tell what it was that was so sticky. Wukong chanted a spell and called the local land god. Only then did he know that this place is called Pansi Cave. There are 7 banshees living in the cave. All of them are spider spirits. After Wukong inquired clearly, he returned to where he was and told his 2 junior brothers. Bajie heard that this time he was fighting a female demon, so he took a rake and ran towards Pansi Cave with long strides. Bajie broke into the cave and saw no monster, so he continued walking inside. Suddenly he heard a burst of women's laughter, so he followed the sound and saw 7 banshees taking a bath in the pool of water in the cave. They said they were clean and ready to eat Tang Monk's meat. Bajie shouted, raised the rake and started to hit. The banshees were having fun when they suddenly saw a dark and fat monk rushing in. They were shy and frightened, and they all spun out silk threads and tied up Bajie's hands and feet. Bajie struggled hard, fell somersaults several times, and finally fell to the ground, unable to get up. After the banshees won the victory, they disappeared in the blink of an eye, laughing and joking. By the time Bajie woke up, the silk thread wrapping him had long disappeared. He quickly ran back to where he was and told Wukong and Sha Seng what happened. Sha Monk exclaimed, "Oh, no, the banshee must have gone back to the cave to eat the master." The 3 of them panicked and ran towards Pansi Cave. When he arrived at Pansi Cave, he saw several little demons guarding them. Bajie raised his rake and started beating them. Seeing Bajie's ferocity, the little demons immediately revealed their true colors and turned into thousands of ants, bees, and cohoppers to bite Wukong, Bajie, and Sha Seng. Bajie and Sha Seng raised their sleeves and fought desperately, shouting for help. Wukong plucked out a handful of Velis hairs and turned into countless eagles to eat the bugs. After a while, the bug was eaten by the eagle. Wukong took back his hair and killed the 8 caves with Bajie and Sha Monk. He found Tang Monk and rescued him from the beam. Then he looked for the banshee in the cave, but they had disappeared without a trace. So they burned the Pansi Cave, and the master and apprentice continued to walk toward the west. Not far away, we passed by a village with Huang Huaguan written on the front door. Tang Monk was thirsty, so the 4 masters and disciples went into the temple to ask for a glass of water. Unexpectedly, the old Taoist in this temple is the senior brother of the 7 banshees in Pansi Cave. The banshees have already come here to ask for help. Tang Seng and his disciples came to the door themselves this time, and the old Taoist asked the boy to offer the poison tea. Tang Seng, Bajie, and Sha Seng were all very thirsty and drank all the tea in one breath. With sharp eyes, Wukong saw a hint of a sinister smile on the corner of the old Taoist's mouth that was difficult for others to detect. So he knew there must be a ghost in the tea, so he pretended to drink it. After a while, Bajie's face turned pale. Sha Seng's eyes were filled with tears. Tang Seng was foaming at the mouth, and all of them fainted on the ground. Wukong took out the golden cudgel and asked the old man why he did this. The old Taoist sneered and said, "You destroyed my junior sister's Pansi hole. Now you can't escape from my grasp." After saying that, he drew his sword and slashed, and the 7 banshees also helped the old Taoist fight. Wukong fights against the monsters, becoming more and more brave as he fights. Seeing that the situation was not good, the banshee spun out silk threads and weaved a large net above Wukong. When Wukong saw this, he somersaulted through the big net and jumped into the air. He plucked out a handful of hair and turned into countless Wukongs. Each one took a double-horned stick and beat the silk net randomly. After a while, all the silk nets were smashed, and 7 big spiders were dragged out from it. They huddled up one by one, trembling all over, and shouted, "Spare my life! Spare your life!" Wukong ordered the old Taoist to hand over the antidote to revive his master and junior brother, otherwise he would kill these spider spirits. The banshee also quickly begged the old Taoist to come up with the antidote, but the old Taoist said that he wanted to eat Tang Monk's meat. After hearing this, Wukong became furious and cursed, "Since you refuse to take out the antidote, let's see what happens to your junior sister." Then he swung the iron rod and beat all the spider spirits to death. Then Wukong went to fight Lao Dao again. The old Taoist was no match for Wukong, so he cast a spell, and his eyes suddenly shot out thousands of golden lights, shining tightly on Wukong. Wukong was so dizzy that he couldn't escape, so he got anxious and crawled underground for more than 20 miles before he could save his life. Wukong emerged from the ground, feeling pain all over his body and no strength at all. Thinking of being unable to rescue his master and junior brother, he couldn't help but cry. At this time, an old woman came and asked him why he was crying. Wukong told the story. The old woman told him that there was a bodhisattva named Pilampo in Chanhua Cave in Xian Mountain who could subdue the monster. After the old woman told Wukong the direction of Thousand Flowers Cave, she disappeared in a flash. Wukong knew that this was the secret help of the gods, so he quickly rode a somersault cloud to Chanhua Cave in Xian Mountain. He happily walked into the cave and saw a female Taoist nun sitting in the middle. Thinking that she was Pilampo Bodhisattva, he stepped forward to salute and explained his purpose of coming. Bodhisattva Pilampo agreed to help Wukong subdue the monsters, and the two of them rode clouds together to Huanghua Temple. Pilampo Bodhisattva hid in the clouds and asked Wukong to lure the monsters out. When the old Taoist saw Wukong coming again, he recited the incantation again, and his eyes glowed with golden light. Bodhisattva Pilampo took out an embroidery needle and threw it into the air, only to hear a loud noise that broke the golden light. Pilampo pressed the cloud head and walked into the Yellow Flower Temple with Wukong and saw that the old Taoist had revealed his original shape and turned out to be a centipede spirit. Wukong wanted to kill him with a stick, but Pilampo told him to stop and save his master first. Tang Seng, master and disciple, were foaming at the mouth and unconscious. Pilampo took out 3 antidote pills and asked Wukong to help them take them. After a while, the 3 people woke up. Tang Seng and the others quickly saluted and thanked them. Pilampo collected the centipede essence and rode the cloud back to the mountain. Wukong set the Huanghua Temple on fire. The 4 masters and apprentices packed up their luggage and horses and set out on the westbound road again. Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.